Okay, anatomy guys, we are back in my classroom and we're ready for this video, which is going to be CA4. This is the fourth video of the ones that I'm recording for you. There's other heart videos that you can get points for on your quizzes, and they're used to supplement what you know about this. But we are going to CA4 and we're looking at basic flow with XY. Okay, you're going to get a lot of XY questions on your test. On your cardio test, which is on what day? It's on May 8th. Yes, May 8th, there's going to be a 3-hour window to log in from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. So you're going to have a lot of video questions. Video's going to be strong on that. So we're going to go ahead and do this one called CA4. This is going to be flow and XY. Alright, so I have a basic diagram of the heart right here. Now you need to assume that a giant is like laying on his back like this, and it's going to be patient perspective. So the patient's perspective, the giant's perspective. That means this is left side, this is left atrium, and this is left ventricle. This means this is right atrium, and this is right ventricle. Now you know from the heart that we have 4 valves, we have 4 chambers. Here's your 4 valves, okay? This one's called a bicuspid valve. That's the bicuspid. It has bi 2 points. The word cusp means points. It's also called the mitral valve from those old hats the bishops used to wear. They called them mitre hats. They had 2 points on them. The mitral valve or the bicuspid valve is right here. This valve is one of the 2 semilunar valves. You can see the other semilunar valve right here. Semilunar means half moon because from certain angles it looks like half of a moon, like a crescent type shape. Alright, this one is called the aortic semilunar valve. Aortic valve or the aortic semilunar valve. This one, the pulmonary valve or the pulmonary semilunar valve. This one is called the tricuspid valve. It's got 3 points. Alright, so you have these four valves, and they're in the heart, and they're going to help blood to flow in one direction on its way through the heart. So let's go over anatomy real quick on the inside. This right here, say for me in your mind, this should be left atrium. Alright, here is your left ventricle. This one, right atrium, right ventricle. Alright, the strongest chamber of all 4 of them, the strongest chamber is going to be this one, the left ventricle. Notice the size of the wall on the left ventricle versus the size of the wall on the right ventricle. The right ventricle only has to pump to the lungs, which are like surrounding the heart. So it has a real easy job. So it doesn't have to be thick. Left ventricle, it is the power that pushes blood to, not back from, but to the rest of the body. The top of my head, the tips of my toes, the tips of my fingers, it pumps it to 51% of my body, and then I have to have other ways to bring that blood back, and we'll look at that in that should be a CA3 video. That should be already up. Alright, now we're going to start right here and we're going to flow with normal flow. We're going to see if we can figure out X's and Y's. X's and Y's. X is what precedes, Y is what postcedes. Alright? So if you're a red blood cell and you're right here and you're in the left atrium, you're going to flow down to the left ventricle. And you're going to pass this valve called the bicuspid valve. So if we're looking at this bicuspid, if I give you on the test, what is the X and the Y for the bicuspid valve? Your X is this, your Y is this. Alright, so XY bicuspid, you're looking at left atrium. I'm going to abbreviate to left vent. Left atrium to the left ventricle. Alright, so the blood goes here, it's oxygenated on the left side of the heart. All of this is oxygenated, all of this is deox. Here's your dividing line, the interventricular septum. This is all oxygenated. The bicuspid, XY, is left atrium, left ventricle. Now the blood gets down here. It's in the strongest chamber of the heart. This chamber is going to flex really hard, and it's going to push that blood this way up through this aortic semilunar valve into the aorta, which is a tube drawn in red. Alright, so if we're going for the aortic valve, and we're doing X's and Y's under normal blood flow, normal is here to here. So we go here to here, then from here to here, and the normal blood flow, the X is left vent, and the Y is the aorta. You want to say aortic trunk, you're fine. It's an artery, it's oxygen rich. Biggest artery in the human body goes out through here. All right, so at this point, we know if we start here, we pump down to here through this valve, the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve. Then we go from here and we get pumped up through the aortic semilunar valve into the aorta. Now, the aorta branches many times. Don't worry about the branches for now. And it goes down, oxygen rich. This is all the branches down here called the descending aorta because it's going down and it's going to feed all my lower tissues. So everything from here down is fed from here down. Now in actuality, the aorta goes like behind the heart and more down the middle of my body, but I want you to be able to see it, so I drew it out to the side a little bit. These are the branches that feed everything from the top of my heart up. All right, so my brain, my arms, those are the branches for those. These are the branches that go all the way down to my liver and my legs and all that. All right, so oxygenated blood goes and it feeds the tissues. Now, it's going to come back up through this vessel. I'm going to write the name of it. I had to use this color because I ran out of good blue. It's deoxygenated, so it's going to be in this color. This one's going to be called the inferior vena cava. If that's inferior, you know there's another one that has to be called the what? The opposite of inferior is superior. This is the superior vena cava. All right, all of that blood's going to come through here, but we're really over here. We went down, we fed the tissues, now we're coming back up through the inferior vena cava. We're oxygen poor, and we're going to go up and we're going to spill into this chamber. See if you can guess where this chamber is. It's going to be the right, patient perspective, right atrium. Now, we're deox here in right atrium. We're going to fall. Your book says 70% of it is due to gravity, but it does pump a little bit. We're going to push through this valve. It has 3 points, so tell me what the name of this valve is. It's the tricuspid. So if I ask you the X and the Y for the tricuspid, I want you to see if you can figure it out. See if you can figure out the X and the Y for this. The X is what precedes, the Y is what postcedes. So we're really looking at the right atrium, and we're going to the right vent. Now, if I ask you the job of the right ventricle, you should say to pump blood to the lungs. My job is to pump blood through the lungs. So at this point, we're right here in the right ventricle. The weak chamber of the heart, it's going to flex, and it's going to pump up blood through here. All right, this valve is called the pulmonary semilunar valve, and it's going to pump up through, trying not to change colors too much, through the pulmonary artery. Call it the pulmonary trunk, like the trunk on a tree if you want. I'm taking either one, but it's the pulmonary artery. You can see that it divides to 2 places. Now, just think rationally. It's logical. If we're oxygen poor, what would it make sense? What organ would it make sense we're going to have to go to if we're oxygen poor? And you said it right if you said lungs. All right, we're now going to the lungs. So this vessel, as it comes out oxygen poor, it's going to a lung through the right pulmonary artery. It's one of the few arteries in the human body that's oxygen poor. Almost all other arteries are oxygen rich. This is the right pulmonary artery. So if you have something that says right, you know there has to be a left pulmonary artery. This left pulmonary artery goes out to your left lung. Now, once it becomes oxygenated there, I'm going to have to draw this in red. You're going to come back to the heart. Now, I need large brain people. Large brain people. If you're coming back to the heart and entering the heart, what is your name? What is the name of you? Remember, if my body represents my heart, I pump blood into arteries that branch into smaller arterioles, that branch into capillaries, that pump into venules, that go into veins that go to the heart. So the blood that went out to the lungs is coming back through this, and it's going back to the heart. In fact, it's going to go right here. This blood is oxygen rich, and it's in a very rare oxygen rich vein called the, let's see if you can get it, 3 words. Come on, people, 3 words, you can do it. Right pulmonary vein. This was the right pulmonary artery. Here's your right pulmonary vein. Artery goes out to the lungs, it's oxygenated, comes back through the right pulmonary vein, and then all the blood from the lungs goes to the left atrium. If you went this way, you went left pulmonary artery, and you came back through, I need you to name it in your mind, the left pulmonary vein. That's going to spill right here. That's going right in here. Now, in actuality, these kind of go behind the heart, but it gets a little confusing, so I don't want you to get all goofed up about it, but I'm going to show you on the big heart, if I can keep it from falling. Here we go. This is your pulmonary trunk. Okay, oxygen port. It's going to branch to that one, which is that one. That's going to be called the left pulmonary artery. You can't see it, but there's another branch right here from that. That's your right pulmonary artery. Blood goes out to the lungs, comes back, and it's going to come back. There's two of them on this model, and there's actually more than that. It's going to come back through these, okay? And this right here, left pulmonary vein, this right here, right pulmonary vein, and they're always going. This is going to be on your test, don't miss it. Right and left pulmonary veins go to left atrium. They all go left atrium. So we're going right here because this is the oxygen-rich side. It makes sense. It has to go to the left side. Now we're going to get pumped past the bicuspid into the left ventricle, past the the aortic semilunar valve into the aorta, and then come back to here. Do you get it? Are you seeing it? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. See if this makes sense. I'm going to write numbers. I want you to predict what's going to happen, where's next. If blood is right here, first stop, you can start anywhere you want. If this is 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. Now 4 can go to the head or can go down to the body, or the arms. The arms are in the head. Let's go down to the body. That makes descending aorta as 5. 6 is tissues in the leg, tissues in whatever you want down there. Eventually we're going to come up to 7. Then we're going to go 8. Where do you think 9 is? There's 9. Where's 10? There's 10. Where's 11? There's 11. Where's 12? After you go to lungs, you come back through 12. And then it's like 13, which is where we started before, 14. This is the flow. Now, if you need this in your book, I'm going to find the page number. I want you to look it up. I want you to check it out. If you need this in your book, you can find all of this on what I think is slightly confusing on page 560. Page 560. And the next page, 561, has the words written out in the order that you should know. Definitely, 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 on your test, you will have lots of XY questions, and you'll have basic blood flow questions. Now, this is for normal blood, normal, all right? There are things like called heart murmurs. In heart murmurs, blood is going to flow from 2 to 1, the wrong direction, because the valve is not shutting properly, or from 9 to 8. That would be a murmur. I was diagnosed with a murmur when I was 12. My doc said, don't worry about it, you're going to grow out of it. I grew out of it. But a heart murmur is not normal. Heart murmur would be 2 to 1, or 9 to 8, or it should be 8 to 9, or 1 to 2. All right. So you get the basics on the flow. You get a lot of XYs through this. I need you to know the pathway of blood through the body without a miss. It should be easy, easy, easy when you're done with it. This is Mr. V from the classroom, speaking to an empty class. I'm checking out.